Hi, I'm Phil Grande at philsgang.com. We're hitting a new year, and you should, at the same time, come in with a new attitude, a new philosophy that you're going to make money when the stock market goes down. That's right. This is the third bubble, and you don't think it's going to crash? The first bubble did. The dot-com, the second bubble, the housing and financial con. Why do you think the third bubble, which is twice as big as the two previous bubbles, is any different? It's not different. Matter of fact, it's worse. It's going to go down faster. The stock market is going to go down 50%. You're going to lose 50% of the money you have in the stock market. You're going to lose 45% of the equity you have in your home. You're going to lose 30% of the money you have in your savings. Yes, you are. Trust me. Join my gang, Phil's gang, so that we can show you how to benefit, how to profit. But you can't just sit there and own a stock. You got to learn how to short the market. Join my gang. Learn how to short. philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
AMVA, and I've lost over 30K on it, but it had excellent earnings the last several quarters, and if they make the cameras and drone equipment, I don't know why it's so weak these days.
It's so weak these days because you don't pay attention to what they make. You don't care about their earnings. The problem is the institutions are pulling their money out, and that's all you need to know, and that's what we identify in the chart, and that's why I become a Phil's Gang member.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
Hi, my name is Phil Grande at philsgang.com. I'm going to tell you something about your 401k that you don't know. You know the 401k is a tax code? That's what it is. Here's how it worked. In the 80s, you had pension funds, but they decided to give their CEOs a benefit on top of the pension. It was called 401k. That was to shelter their income. That way they could keep the CEOs because it was very competitive. But when all the jobs were shipped overseas, they no longer could keep pension funds. Too expensive. So they shifted all their employees to a 401k, duping you thinking it was a good deal. But what they did is they charged hidden fees, which amount to about $250 billion a day, that they gave to lobbyists to go to Washington to make sure that this 401k would never be transparent. Here's what came of it.
Responsibility begins and ends with our partners and our shareholders, and that's it.
That's right. So join my gang, philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264. There is only one talk show host, Phil Grande, who delivers both social and financial talk. Not even Hannity or Rush can deliver a 1-2 punch like that. That's Phil Grande, philsgang.com. Phil Grande is unique, the industry leader, the first talk show host ever to combine social issues and finance into winning stock market ideas. That's Phil Grande, philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande at philsgang.com. Do you ever notice they always tell you to buy, but they never tell you to sell? They never tell you to sell. Well, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you understand. When you buy a stock, and if all you do is buy, and you never sell short to make money where they're going down, you have to be so good. That means you got to buy the companies that are always going up. Nobody's that good. Nobody could possibly be that good. You got to make money. Just like you make money when you buy a stock, you got to make money when a stock goes down. That's how you even the playing field. That's how professionals make money. They make money going up and make money going down. But they don't tell you that. They just want you to try to make money going up. They don't want you to make money going down because they make that money on you. Join my gang, Phil's Gang. Learn how to short stocks at philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264. What is Phil's Gang? philsgang.com is a subscription website service that host Phil Grande has been teaching and providing daily stock investment recommendations for over 15 years, all in the name of making its customers educated investors and helping the kids at St. Jude's Children's Hospital. If you want to take charge of your financial future, then do not wait any longer. For only $49.95, become a Phil's Gang member today. Go to philsgang.com or call 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264.
Hi, my name is Phil Grande at philsgang.com. You know we're going to have not only a stock market crash in 2016, but a housing crash in 2016. Don't you like how they tell us the housing's in recovery and the market's in recovery and the economy's in recovery? When it's not. It's in a bubble. Take housing. They loaned to a Wall Street firm called Blackstone. $7 billion. They buy 41,000 houses to go rent. Are you nuts? When they can't collect the rents anymore, Those houses are going on the market and going to depress the real estate business by 30 or 40%. It's the same thing with stocks. They loan people money 600% more than they ever did before to buy stocks. That's all debt. And when the market goes down, they're going to have to dump those stocks to pay back that debt. And boy, will the market drop. Join my gang. Learn how to short. philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, families never receive a bill for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because the only thing a family should worry about is helping their child live.
Doctors send us the toughest cases to be treated at St. Jude, and our patients come from all over the world.
When we come here, they told me, don't worry, everything's being taken care of.
We could never repay St. Jude for what they've given us.
Because of you.
Gracias a ti. Because of you.
There is St. Jude.
The stocks discussed on Phil's Gang are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. If considering acting on information presented, we first recommend you seek out a competent, licensed professional for advice. Get ready for the radio show that tells you what Wall Street doesn't want you to know.
Oh, I'm a money magnet. Money's coming to me. Money sets me free. I'm a money magnet. Money coming to me.
It's your daily dose of how to manage your money. And now it's time for Phil's Gang on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. With your host, Phil Grande.
I came here for two reasons. One, because I care deeply about Jeb. And two, because I care deeply about our country. Here are some things I think people ought to look for in the next president. Starters, I think you ought to look to someone who's had executive experience. He's going to assemble a great team of people to whom he'll listen. He'll create a culture in which they can deliver not just the good news, but the bad. He'll listen carefully to their advice, and then he's got the backbone necessary to make the tough decisions on behalf of the American people.
And, of course, that is our former president helping out his brother. But I have to laugh when I hear that. He said that he was helping his brother, but he loved America. You know, I have to really laugh. Because it's just like when he lied to us. And he said, you know, when the market crashed and everything was going down, everything was bad, he said that the United States does not have a capitalist system. Or he has a capitalist system, but he says, you know, I had to get away from the capitalist system to try to save. I had to abandon the free market principles to save the free market system. Sorry, that's what he meant. I had to abandon the free market principles to save the free market system. That was a total lie. He didn't do that. He was saving his family dynasty, his own wealth, and the billionaire friends on Wall Street, in the oil industry, arms industry. That's what he was doing. I just have to laugh when I hear that, how I love America. Well, if he loved America, then he wouldn't have done the things that he did during the crash. And we'll go over that today. But first, I want to talk about the market this afternoon. And everyone's saying the jibber jabbers on CNBC are telling us the sell-off is over. It's time to buy. Really? It's time to buy? I haven't seen any buy signals. And I have not seen on my chart the final signal that tells you the selling is over. You never go in a stock market and start buying stocks after you have a 15% correction until you get that panic signal. It's called a capitulation signal, where people panic and they say, just get me out, just get me out. I'll get out at any price. And then the market drops 5-6% in one day. It's called capitulation. Until we see that, the crash is not over. These are called head fake rallies. So if anybody's trying to sell you on the idea, boy, these stocks are good value right now, they're really cheap, go in and get them. The crash is over. Don't get sucked in. Do not get more people get hurt when these kind of things happen. That's why I love charting, because charting, I can tell when the sell-off is over and we're ready to start going the other way. What's that mean, go the other way? When we start seeing institutional money come in, just like I said back in May 2015, that I saw so much institutional money coming out. It was incredible. I said, this is when the market's starting to crash. And then in July, I said again, I've never seen so much money coming out of the market. Here's the confirmation. The last week of July, right here. This is the first day of the stock market correction, the crash. And we went down ever since, down 14% on the S&P. But we have not finished yet. I mean, people got to really look at the economy and see what's going on. What do you mean it's over? It's not over. It's not over. Yellen raised rates, remember, for credibility reasons. It backfired on her. What do you think the market dropped? It backfired on her. Our economic growth has gotten worse since she dropped rates. Our economic growth is 1.7%, not even 2%. What are you, nuts? It's gotten worse, not better. The wheels have come off three of our most important sectors: manufacturing, mining, and utilities. Those are the three most important sectors. That's the sector that gives you your standard of living. That's where you get real productivity. It's not happening. We continue to have the lowest participation rate, the lowest home ownership rate, and the lowest wages. They're getting worse. And now we have a danger, a very dangerous subprime debt bubble in autos and student loans. It's incredible. See, the problem for Yellen, I think, is her outdated Dutch boy haircut. I think it affects her brainwaves. It affects her judgment, as it did with Bernanke. In other words, remember the global debt that was created by Bernanke and his merry band of central banksters, bankster terrorists, who, are, by the way, are more dangerous than ISIS? Remember that? But Yellen made a mistake thinking a hike in interest rates by a quarter point would have little or no effect on the market, right? Well, she also was wrong in thinking that her hero and mentor, Bernanke, and his merry band of central gangster banksters around the world, after causing the 2008 global debt meltdown, that the solution was to just, hey, let's reflate the debt bubble. We'll reflate it over 7 years by 50%, or $70 trillion. For now, a total of $212 trillion global debt. What are you, nuts? And she went along with it. She went along with it. Instead of saying, whoa, wait a minute here, when she got confirmed. Well, when she got confirmed, she said, I think Ben is a hero. Things would have been terrible without Ben. I'm going to follow his policies. That's why we're down 14%. That's why we're going to go down another 24%. Now, you got to understand, this is not over. Bernanke spent years propping up and inflating the stock market with massive injections of printed and borrowed money. He used QE. He lied. That it was to create a strong recovery, to create jobs for Main Street and increase wages and savings and help small businesses. None of it was true. Yellen didn't even realize that QE was a planned assault on Main Street middle-class Americans. Its savers, its retirees, its Main Street small businesses, all for the benefit of a small segment of the population who control 85% of the stock market. And any kind of correction, like the 14% we just had, it always causes terrible things. It stops economic growth. It stops job growth. This little 14% correction, that's what it has done. All of a sudden you start seeing job growth contract. You start seeing more poverty in the middle class. See, Yellen, instead of challenging Bernanke's monetary policies, the ones that failed in Japan, The exact ones that failed in Japan, by the way, which he did a paper on, which he said he would never use, but he used. Instead, she told Congress after her appointment, hey, this is a good guy. I'm going to follow and implement the same policies. Everybody applauded her. Apply the same policies, which has failed, brings us a growth of 1.7% with nothing but part-time jobs. I'm telling you, it's her out-of-date Dutch boy haircut that's doing it. It's got an effect on her brain. Doesn't she realize those policies is what caused the 2008 financial meltdown? And now we're in a repeat of that? And you think that this correction is over? What are you, nuts? Join my gang, Phil's Gang. 15 past the hour here on Phil's Gang. We'll be right back.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
Why not?
Welcome back to the Phil's Gang Show. This segment is brought to you by philsgang.com.
And welcome back to Phil's Gang. Okay, the stock market, again, is up 200 points. Do not be fooled by this rally. Now, the one thing we have learned with charting is when the market opens, and you have your chart, you never second guess the market. You always look at the chart, and it tells you the truth. You have to lose your opinion when the market opens. You got to lose your opinion or lose your money. The chart is always right. Now, take, for example, Caterpillar, one of our 5 stocks, and I'd love to have you do this with us. Now, the 5 stocks that we invest every day and watch every day. Caterpillar, we shorted Caterpillar back in November, or back in December 3rd. And Caterpillar, we have about an 18% return on Caterpillar. 18% return. Now, it gave us a buy signal. It just gave us a buy signal, and that's the beautiful thing. A buy signal around $58. A perfect buy signal at $58. Today it's near $66. So that's about a 13% gain going the other way. So here's my point. You're going to be able to control your retirement. You're going to be able to invest. You're going to be able to put money away. You're going to feel comfortable once you control your investment, which is a stock, but stay with just 6 of them. So all you do all year, 6 of them. I know it doesn't make any sense to you because you're so used to having these mutual funds with hundreds of stocks. That's not how you create wealth. You take the same 5, just the same 5 stocks. And once you know how to use a chart, once you get the signal, the buy signal, the sell signal, it's easy. Because staying with the same stocks day in and day out, you get to know that stock. Doesn't it make sense? So again, going back in November, when we shorted Caterpillar, we took our profits. Again, we took our profits, and we could see it on our chart. Time to take the profits, and it was right around the January 26th. It was showing us that the institutions were coming back in and starting to buy Caterpillar because, see, the dollar started to fall. And when the dollar falls, there are certain stocks that go up because, and again, that's where you get our help. When the dollar falls, you have, like on Caterpillar, Boeing, Microsoft, you look at those stocks. And hopefully one of those stocks is your 6 stocks. Now, when the dollar is strong and is kicking the heck out of these stocks, because when the dollar is strong, they can't compete overseas, so they lose revenue. So then what you want to do is buy stocks in the S&P 500 companies. There's about 107 of the S&P 500 companies that generate the majority of their sales, their income, their revenues here at home. Now, a good one is Lowe's, Verizon, CBS, Home Depot, Comcast, just to name a few. So that's important to know. Now, it doesn't mean you just go and buy Comcast because they do most of their sales at home when the dollar's going up and it's strong. You just don't listen to somebody on CNBC who says to you, oh, you better buy them because when the dollar's strong overseas, these companies here in the U.S., they just depend on money here. They don't care about the dollar overseas. You better buy them. No, you wait for the buy signal. You know which stocks. There's 107 of them, but you know, wait a minute, I better wait and see on my chart if I have a buy signal. And that's what we did with Caterpillar. So it's a perfect way for you to control, to be in control of your retirement. I'm not telling you to get rid of your 401k. I'm telling you to at least try it. And try it for a month and see if it makes a difference. And I know it will. $39.95. Just check it out. Go to my site, philsgang.com, or you can call right now, 877-600-GANG. And Denise can sign you up, or Stephen, and get you going in this program where we have a beautiful chart, a charting program. It's so simple, so easy to learn. It's incredible. And same 6 stocks. Okay. So, it was interesting to me, as I said, when all of a sudden Jeb Bush, who, by the way, I liked very much as governor of my state of Florida. I think he did a great job. I like him. I don't see him as presidential material, but I like him as governor. He's terrific. But what really got me is when all the press was saying, wow, now look at George Bush is coming to South Carolina. Everybody loves George Bush. He saved the economy, blah, blah, blah. No, he didn't. He was a fraud. The guy was a fraud. So for the press to sit there and say, wow, George Bush, what a terrific guy. He saved the economy. And I'll never forget when he lied to us. He said, I abandoned free market principles to save the free market system. He lied because the United States does not have a capitalist system. We have a corporate fascist economic system where our owners are a small cartel of gangster banksters, military weapons suppliers like the Bush family, and I'll get into that later. You go, what did you just say? That's right. Much of their wealth comes from supplying weapons, arms. I'll explain that in a minute. And then you have the mega corporations. They set, of course, the agenda for the country, and they have complete control of politicians. They own them. They own the mainstream media. But he lied. George Bush lied when he said, I have abandoned free market principles to save the free market system. He wouldn't know the free market if he tripped over it. He was saving, in 2008, his family dynasty, his family wealth, and that of his billionaire friends and associates, which they're all tied together. Take, for example, Halliburton. Oil. He and his family are really tied to Halliburton. They own part of Halliburton. They own one of the largest construction companies in the world, Batchel. The Bush family has ownership in that construction company, Batchel. They're business partners. And their best friend is Stephen Batchel. There's another company, Science Applications International Corporation. Very close friend to the Bush family, and they do deals together. All three companies had multi-contracts in Iraq worth billions of dollars, which benefited the Bush dynasty. We'll talk more about that in stocks when we get back. Join my gang right now, 877-600-GANG.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
Hi,
Brother asked, and I love him dearly and know he'll be a great president because I love America, and I know we face enormous problems, but
Yeah, we face enormous problems because of you and then Obama. Welcome back to Phil's Gang. By the way, let's go check out some stocks.
Stock Corner is brought to you by the Phil's Gang video channel. Go to philsgang.com, click on the video channel graphic, and check out Phil's free videos on the market, economy, and current events.
Okay, the market's up about 200 points today. Now, that's after we had a huge sell-off. You know that, over 14% just in the S&P. But don't forget, we also were selling short Intel, a 17% return on Intel. We had a 23% return on Schlumberger, 21% return on Goldman Sachs, shorting these stocks. Same with IBM. Now, Caterpillar, same thing. We had about an 18% return. We sold it short on December 3rd. But we also bought some stocks. We bought gold. Nobody wanted gold. We bought gold in November, or December 3rd. Nobody was buying it. But our chart showed us the institution started to buy. So we started to buy a little of that ourselves. Turned out terrific, up over 40%. And again, I want to make it clear, I'm not guaranteeing you or telling you that every gang member made 40% on gold or made on Goldman Sachs 21% or 23% on Schlumberger. Remember, this is a teaching format. And we identify for them using a chart, showing them on a chart where the buy signal is. And we'll tell them, here's the buy signal. And we have them follow 5 stocks, the same 5 stocks with us every day, and we give you the buy signal. We give you the sell short signal. Now, it's up to them and the risk they want to take when they want to pull the trigger. But the point is, the chart, our training showed that they had an opportunity to make those kind of returns. Now, I know a lot of our gang members have. Now, we got some opportunity here. If they're going to try to run this market up again, let's say they come back with QE. Let's say they announce QE4. The market will shoot up about 15%. What a great opportunity. Now, some of the stocks that will be terrific are going to be oil stocks. I told my gang when we bought gold, I said, gold will make most of our money this year. And I said, oil. And we now have our oil stocks all set up to go. So if they do try to rally them, we'll catch them. And we'll catch them on our chart. So join our gang and you can have that same opportunity. See, the beautiful thing is to catch them both ways, up and down. Now, going back to where we stand with this economy and stand with the market, you know, they'll come out yelling and tell you everything's fine. And what really hurt this economy, why we're in such bad shape, why we have the worst recovery ever, is because of what Bush did. When the banks were falling apart and collapsing, he should have let them collapse. He should have let them go into bankruptcy, split them up. He should have done that. He should let our country go into a deep recession and build our way back up, get rid of the debt. But he didn't do that. That wasn't going to be him. He was saving his family money. He was saving his wealth and his buddies, the billionaires and the millionaires, like the owner of Halliburton and the big owner of Bechtel Company and the other Science Applications International, who, by the way, they're all friends of his. They own each other. They have money in these companies all through Carlyle Group, the Carlyle Group. And these companies had these huge contracts in Iraq, which, again, benefited the family. Now, most people don't realize the majority of the Bush family wealth comes from arms trade. That's right. Between the Bush family, the defense industry, the global arms trade, so large, they say, it's almost impossible to keep track of them, all the deals. Because the deals go through their ownership of 164 companies, which is part of the Carlyle Group, which is owned almost entirely by ex-government guys. Carlyle, incredible organization, just incredible. In fact, the bin Laden family was involved with Carlyle. Now, people don't realize that the Bush dynasty, was founded upon the pursuit of riches through oil and wartime business ventures and Wall Street investment banking. Of course Bush wasn't going to break these banks up. He wasn't going to do what was best for the country or best for middle-class America or Main Street. Of course not. So he's full of baloney when he tells you he abandoned the free market principle to save the free market system. There's no free market system when it came to Bush. It's crazy that he said that. When Bush made that comment, I abandoned free market principles to save the free market system, he wasn't talking about Main Street he was saving, but his fellow billionaires and Wall Street banksters under the cover of saving the average American. That's right. Bush and his noble men, the noble American patriots, including Bush, he was going to save the top 1% richest Americans because all his buddies and his families all involved with oil and banking and the defense industry and arms industry, all off the backs of the American middle class, who they threw under the bus, you got to remember. So all of these guys and these industries who committed the crimes and destroyed our financial system, not only here but worldwide, you know, they didn't get punished under Obama when he took over, or Holder. They were enriched by the actions of Hank Paulson and Bernanke. Now, let's think about this. Not only did George Bush not save the free market system, but he drove a stake right through the heart of the free market system. And the historians, when they look at 2008 crash and the crash we are in now, will just highlight one word: debt. Debt. The 1929 crash, the 2008 crash, and 2016 crash were man-made disasters. We're talking about Alan Greenspan, Ben Bernanke, and now Yellen. Remember, they created the atmosphere, the conditions that led to the risk-taking by the banksters, the home buyers, the consumers. Remember these zero interest rates, easy credit. They had a big party, but they let the party get out of control. Nobody took the punch bowl away. Never crossed their minds. The Federal Reserve banksters is controlled by the major Wall Street banks, which were all partnerships. You got to understand how this worked. They're all partnerships at one time. But once they were allowed to become corporations instead of partnerships, they could now take real risk because they could get big compensation for the executives with no downside. Once they turned from a partnership to a corporation, they could take huge risk, and they did, and they had no downside. They were guaranteed a bailout by the American people, thanks to our bought Congress. And remember, we, the taxpayers, we get it. We're the ones who have to eat the downside. And that's what's going to happen with this crash. And here's what's interesting. All the CEOs who were now shareholders, and as shareholders, they go and they convince the Federal Reserve to bail their corporations out whenever they made terrible bets, the banksters. What a sweet deal. Bernie Madoff, he would still be in business if he applied for a banking charter. That was his mistake. So this crash is not over, not by a long shot. Join my gang tonight, philsgang.com. 43 past the hour here on Phil's Gang. We'll be right back. Join my gang.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
Hi, I'm Phil.
Welcome back to Phil's Gang Radio Show. For more information, simply go to philsgang.com. Now, here's Phil.
And welcome back to Phil's Gang. When you join a gang and you do well, going long and short stocks, all we ask if you donate money to St. Jude, just a little bit of money, donate directly to St. Jude. And once again, it's an easy format to follow. I teach you every day. You don't have to sit there. It's archived. It's so easy. It's not hard. To sit there and someone controls you in a 401k is nuts. You're not going to create wealth. And remember, it's the owners, our owners, that control the market. They decide, and remember, they decide when it goes up and when it goes down. What's wrong with that? As long as you get the buy and the sell signal. And the key is to have the sell signal so you can get the money on the other side. So here you have Wall Street. You had all the Wall Street banks, which remember were partnerships. And then, remember, the Federal Reserve allowed them to become corporations. That way they could take all kinds of risk. But they also got all kinds of compensation for the executives. Huge compensation. There was no downside now when they were a corporation. And remember, the banks were always guaranteed and still guaranteed a bailout. That's the problem with what Wall Street's doing. And it's not over yet. Until a new president comes in and straightens this out, nothing has changed since 2008. Matter of fact, things are worse. But not for us who understand how to buy a stock and sell a stock short. So these CEOs are no longer partners, but who are now shareholders. They go convince the Federal Reserve to bail out their corporations, which they were more than happy to do, especially when they make bad bets. What a sweet deal these guys got. Now, Wall Street, remember, used their power. Now that they were corporation CEOs and were making tremendous money, they could pay off Congress to convince the SEC to waive a 12-to-1 leverage rule. So they could leverage their balance sheets 40-to-1. That's still in place today. Are you nuts? 40-to-1. Nothing's changed. And you don't want to know how to make money when the market goes down? You think it's just going to keep going up? This meant that 5% loss in their capital meant they're insolvent. So all these Harvard guys, like in the financial world, like Jamie Dimon, they created the housing bubble because guess what? They didn't have any downside and they were making a fortune because now they're corporations and they got a guaranteed bailout. That's why they'll continue to do this over and over and over. To buy a stock and just hold on it, those days are gone until somebody fixes this. But in the meantime, you can create wealth because you know this is going on, so you know when to buy the stock and you know when to sell the stock short. So when all of this fraud exploded in 2008, and it's going to explode in 2016, which it just started in May and July, when all the fraud and debt blew up, and all the value on their books, think about it, plunged by 40%. When the banks were bankrupt. Now, who controlled these banks? The billionaires and millionaire class. They own more than half the financial wealth in the country. President Bush was a multimillionaire at the time, still is. The Treasury Secretary was a billionaire. Paulson. There were 250 millionaires in Congress. The top executives of the banks that own and control the Federal Reserve are multimillionaires. Do you think it was acceptable for them to file bankruptcy? The banks? They took the big bets, the big gambles. They had no personal liability. Do you think they were going to go for bankruptcy? Not acceptable. So they had the Federal Reserve print $2 trillion out of thin air to save the millionaires and the billionaires that own the banks. And what did that do to the middle class? Threw them under the bus. That's why you don't have jobs today. That's why you have a part-time job. That's why you don't have overtime. Bernanke, Federal Reserve, then bought $1.2 trillion in toxic subprime mortgages from these Wall Street banksters. Took them off their balance sheet. They allowed the banks to borrow money at 0%. They should have been out of business. Bush should have put them out of business. And he lies to us. And he say he's trying to save the capitalist system. He put a knife through the capitalist system so he and his buddies would be saved. Remember, the Bush family owns a lot of Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley. He's not saying that in his speeches. So Bernanke goes and prints $1.2 trillion, buys the mortgages from the banks, gives them money at 0%. Then they change the accounting rules so they could fake the value of their loans. So the banks could roll over all their commercial real estate, all the shopping centers, all the malls that were going under. Well, instead of foreclosing on them, Bush and the boys, they said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to change the way that we account. We're going to change the accounting rules so that they can decide the value of their commercial real estate on their own. The guy who's in debt, he decides what it's worth, called mark to model. So when these things, these commercial strips and all these commercial properties were going bankrupt, they dropped 40% in value, they came and they changed the 40% and pushed it up 80%. So they didn't have to go to foreclosure. They just rolled them over. It's still sitting on the books. You don't think this market's going to continue to go down at some point? What are you, nuts? Bernanke then prints $600 billion for what he called QE2 in order to fake a 200% stock market rally, benefiting who? The 1 percentile. Are you kidding? Then Bernanke was told by the millionaire members of Congress to print another $800 billion for what they call the stimulus program. It was supposed to stimulate the economy. Oh, really? All they did is shoveled all that money to Congress. They're corporate friends of Congress. The same people who contribute to the congressman's campaign. Cash for clunkers. What do you think that was? That was to benefit GM and all the other government-owned companies. Do you think they did cash for clunkers to help you? No, it benefited GM and the other car companies that were owned by the government. The home buyer tax credit. And changing the loss carryback rules benefited who? The mega home builders like Ovania. When they lost $30 million, they did a special home buyer tax credit that changed the loss carryback rules that benefited these builders where they got huge checks. Instead of going down, they got checks. There was something for everybody if you were a millionaire and you were one of the boys in Congress. Every one of these deeds enriched the bankster gangsters, the millionaires, the billionaires, all tied to Bush. And he said he was doing all this to keep capitalism intact. Capitalism? How about cronyism? And today, the real middle class wages continue to fall. Unemployment remains at record lows, but they rigged that, say it's only 4.9%, when we all know that's stupid. It's more like 20%. And at the same time, they screwed the middle class with wages. The senior citizen haven't gotten a Social Security interest cost of living increase in 2 years. They lie about the inflation. Savers are getting less than 0.25% on their savings. That's why there's no investment anymore. You got to have savings to invest. And then when you invest, you produce, you create jobs, you create income to go out and spend. But they don't need you to go out and spend at companies anymore because company stocks don't have to go up anymore by spending. They do it by printing money and giving it to the banks to buy their own stock back, or to buy the company, to give the money to the company to buy their own stock back, so it moves up. So everybody, what a system. What a system. So senior citizens, when they get their Social Security check, they're getting screwed out of cost of living. Isn't that unbelievable? And who's going to get stuck for this when this market crashes in 2016? Who's going to get stuck for all this again? The same stuff, you and me. So what I suggest you do is join my gang so you create wealth this time. Take advantage of this system. You'll love the system. You'll never want it to go back to being correct again. It's too much fun. Join my gang, Phil's gang, right now.
You have been listening to Phil's Gang with your host, Phil Grande, on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Remember to visit Phil's website at philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. Or call the office, 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264.
It's up to me.